What's up guys, Keenan from Keenan KTV here, and welcome back to another video. In this video, I want to take a closer look at how Khabib the Eagle Nurmagomedov would defeat Tony "El Cucuy" Ferguson. With that being said, I will also make a video where I will go over how Tony Ferguson can beat Khabib Nurmagomedov, so let's jump right into the video. As we all know, at UFC 229, Khabib Nurmagomedov and Tony Ferguson came out victorious. Khabib ended up defeating the notorious Conor McGregor, and Tony Ferguson ended up defeating the former lightweight champion Anthony "Showtime" Pettis. However, a fight between Tony Ferguson and Khabib Nurmagomedov already was a fight that the UFC tried to make 4 times. This would be the 5th time, and I do believe that this time this fight will definitely go through, hopefully, and we will finally get to see this fight. It is a fight that has been pulled away from us with a couple of days notice, and really it is just a fight that we have to see before these two guys retire. But how would this matchup play out? In this video, like I said, I will just dive into how Khabib Nurmagomedov would win this fight. So let's see what Khabib Nurmagomedov will be able to do against El Cucuy, Tony Ferguson.
I lost myself inside of you, only to realize that I'd fall too.
With Conor McGregor defeated, the only real contender or challenge lies within Tony Ferguson. This fight for Tony Ferguson is also the proving point of his entire career. Finally, he will get the chance to fight for that world title at the age of 34, 35 years old. Ferguson possesses a lot of threats. He has great speed, he's very awkward, has tremendous cardio endurance, and is arguably in the prime of his career. Whereas most of Khabib's opponents, they never really went the full distance and were able to keep up a certain pace that they set in the first round. Ferguson is the only guy that I could see fighting at the same pace that he entered the octagon with. We saw that against Kevin Lee, for example, after getting taken down and mounted. Seemingly after every single round, the man went out there with the same pace. Something that, like I said, Khabib's opponents were not really going in there with that attribute at all. With all of that laid out, I still believe that this fight is definitely going to be in the favor of Khabib Nurmagomedov. Stylistically looking at this fight, the chances of Tony Ferguson avoiding every single takedown of Khabib seems to be very slim. I don't believe that anybody can go in there and question the ability from Khabib to take down Tony Ferguson. Tony has been taken down previously before, for example by Kevin Lee. So for Khabib to do the same thing, I don't think that is something out of this world. I think that he will get that takedown and he will, for a change, keep Tony Ferguson down. That is something that Khabib just specializes in. He will keep you down, pin you down, and slowly but surely break you down piece by piece. He isn't really going all out when he takes you down at first. He will take his time with you. He will just wait and drain you out round by round up until you will just give up or an opportunity for a finish presents itself. However, the fight does not start off on the floor. So when the rounds start off, Tony Ferguson has the striking edge. Now, when it comes to the stand-up department, Tony Ferguson is definitely the better striker. This does not necessarily mean that Khabib will have no success against Tony Ferguson. Well, for him to go in there and strike with Tony Ferguson is not really the way to go anyway. A certain thing that Tony Ferguson lacks that is very necessary going up against Khabib is the ability to make Khabib respect you. Now personally, I don't believe that Tony Ferguson has the physical strength to keep Khabib off of him and stuff every single takedown, nor do I believe that he has the ability to go in there and just knock out Khabib. I feel like Khabib is one of the best chinned fighters out there. He never got hurt, he never got dropped in the UFC, so the question of him having a glass jaw is already out of the window. And to begin with, Tony Ferguson is not a heavy hitter. So for example, when Khabib went in there against Conor McGregor, he immediately was on the outside of the octagon. not even want to engage with Conor like that. Respecting his power, speed, and timing, Khabib knew better than to be the first to engage or initiate a strike. However, with Tony Ferguson, I feel like Khabib will be a lot more inclined to come forward and pressure Tony Ferguson, and the pressure will get to Tony because I don't believe that Tony Ferguson will have the physical power to keep Khabib away from him and off of him. So by the time Khabib goes in there and takes down Tony Ferguson, the things that Tony Ferguson excels at, such as his cardio and endurance, will definitely take a hit. No matter how good Tony Ferguson's cardio may be, with Khabib being on top of you, you will slowly but surely, piece by piece, get broken down by Khabib. Now at this stage of Tony Ferguson's career, we have to really consider how much longer can he go at this level. He's already 34 years old, so definitely age is going to catch up to him very soon. Now on the other hand, when it comes to the ground game, Tony Ferguson has a respectable game also. Now I don't want to blow it out of proportion and say that it will neutralize Khabib Nurmagomedov's sambo, but when it comes to the guard, he can pose a good threat to Khabib, but I don't believe that will be anything at all. Tony Ferguson, he got mounted by Kevin Lee. Khabib can do the same thing, if not more. So when this fight does go to the ground, I don't believe that Tony Ferguson will pose a big threat. However, I do believe that he will put up a bigger fight than any other Khabib Nurmagomedov opponent did when it came to the grappling department. But I don't believe that will be enough. If Khabib just cannot find a way to submit Tony Ferguson, I do believe that the amount of time and the amount of control time and the amount of damage that he can deal to Tony Ferguson will be enough for him to secure a unanimous decision victory anyway. So really this is a very hard and uphill battle for Tony Ferguson. He's not as fast as, for example, Conor McGregor is with singular shots to catch Khabib as he's coming in. I don't believe that he will be physically strong enough to keep Khabib off of him and make him respect range and distance. So for Tony Ferguson to win this fight, he really needs to fight a perfect fight. The amount of times that they have tried to make this fight happen and the amount of cancellations that we had is actually a good thing. This meant that both fighters had the time to improve and become better, which ultimately meant that this fight is going to be even better than it was supposed to be. For Khabib Nurmagomedov, he now has a respectable stand-up game. When it comes to the stand-up department, I feel like Khabib Nurmagomedov will be the faster fighter with singular strikes. Now Khabib is a bit more awkward than Tony Ferguson. Now what Tony has is range. However, Khabib Nurmagomedov is very quick with closing the distance, as shown in the Conor McGregor fight with that beautiful overhand right that was thrown with such quickness. It really made us not underestimate Khabib striking like that. And Khabib is also very powerful. Now the problem with Khabib striking is really that it lies with only one singular shot. He cannot really string multiple punches together. At most he could string a 2-punch combination. So in that department, Tony Ferguson may have an edge. But at the same time, Tony Ferguson really needs to plant his feet in order for him to throw that many combinations. For Khabib Nurmagomedov to counter that, luckily for him, he's a guy that rarely stands still. He's always moving. So for Tony Ferguson to go in there and get a chance to throw that many combinations and smother Khabib, I don't see that happening at all. Also, we have always talked about Tony Ferguson having great stamina, a great pace setter. He is a phenomenal fighter that can endure a lot of damage and recover very quickly. But at the same time, are we going to disregard that Khabib Nurmagomedov respectively also has great stamina of his own? Now granted, because he's always on top, that is the most that he can do, right? He can just lay on you and he can make you carry the weight, and essentially you're gonna have to work twice, while just Khabib has to do only one thing, that is just lay on top of you, but also focus on controlling the wrists, securing the legs, keeping the posture up good, land powerful ground and pound shots to really wear you out, and by the end of it, you're really depleted. But with that being said, Khabib Nurmagomedov's stamina is not something that you have to really underestimate. When it comes to the striking department, yes, obviously Tony Ferguson has the better striking stamina. But like I said, the likelihood of this fight being a non-stop stand-up fight is very unlikely. All in all, the way that Khabib Nurmagomedov will defeat Tony Ferguson is by doing what Khabib always has done. Use relentless pressure to pin his opponent up against the cage, work in the clinch, and secure a takedown from there. That is how he's always gotten his takedowns. I mean, at least most of it. Because I don't see Tony Ferguson being strong enough physically to keep Khabib off of him and make Khabib respect his range. At the same time, Tony Ferguson is not really the fastest of punches either. I think that he needs a lot of warm-up time, if you want to call it, for him to get his combinations rolling. Because he's not a heavy hitter, I do believe that he has to rely on a lot of quantity over quality, if you want to call it like that. But ultimately, I do believe that Tony Ferguson will get taken down. And from there, he may pose a good threat, but in the end, I do believe that Tony Ferguson will get overwhelmed by Khabib and will get pounded out or submitted. That is how I see this fight playing out in terms of Khabib winning this fight. Well, for now, this is how Khabib will win this fight. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave what you guys think of this fight and who do you guys believe will win this fight in the comment section down below. With that being said, I am Keenan from Keenan KTV, signing off. Later.